Clayton Moore remains one of the most recognizable figures in the history of television westerns. Best known for portraying the heroic masked lawman in the classic series The Lone Ranger, Moore's life and career stretched far beyond a single role. Born with natural athleticism and a strong sense of discipline, he worked tirelessly to establish himself in Hollywood. Over time, he became a symbol of integrity and justice for millions of fans. His legacy, strengthened through decades of appearances and dedication to his character, continues to inspire audiences and preserve the timeless spirit of frontier heroism. Early life and beginnings. Born Jack Carlton Moore on September 14, 1914, in Chicago, Clayton Moore displayed remarkable physical talent from an early age. As a young man, he worked as an acrobat in the Flying Bear's trapeze act, which helped him develop agility, balance, and physical discipline. These skills would later prove invaluable in his Hollywood career. Moore's striking appearance and athletic build made him a natural fit for action-oriented roles. By the 1930s, he had begun working in the film industry as both a stuntman and actor, gradually building a reputation for reliability and courage in physically demanding productions. Early Hollywood career. During the 1930s and 1940s, Moore steadily gained experience in Hollywood, appearing in numerous low-budget westerns and adventure films. These productions, often referred to as B-westerns, provided him with valuable screen time and the opportunity to refine his acting skills. While he was not yet a household name, directors recognized his professionalism and willingness to perform challenging action scenes. His strong screen presence and authentic cowboy demeanor made him a natural fit for Western roles. Over time, Moore became a dependable performer within the genre, laying the groundwork for the role that would ultimately define his entire career. Becoming the Lone Ranger. Moore's life changed dramatically in 1949 when he was cast as the lead in the television adaptation of The Lone Ranger. The show itself was based on the enormously popular radio program that had already captivated audiences nationwide. Moore brought a powerful presence to the character, combining a commanding voice, noble posture, and strong moral authority. Riding the white stallion Silver and fighting injustice across the frontier, his portrayal instantly resonated with viewers. The role transformed Moore into a national icon, and for many fans, he became the definitive embodiment of the masked hero. Partnership with Tonto. A crucial part of the show's success was Moore's on-screen partnership with Jay Silverheels, who portrayed the Lone Ranger's loyal companion, Tonto. Their characters formed one of television's earliest and most memorable heroic partnerships. Silverheels brought dignity and quiet strength to the role, helping break some stereotypes that were common in Hollywood portrayals of Native Americans at the time. Together, the two actors created a dynamic built on trust, loyalty, and mutual respect. Their chemistry gave emotional depth to the series and helped cement the show's lasting popularity among audiences of all ages. Contract dispute and triumphant return. Moore initially played the Lone Ranger from 1949 to 1951 before a contract dispute temporarily removed him from the role. Another actor briefly replaced him, but fans strongly preferred Moore's portrayal. Recognizing the public's loyalty, the producers eventually brought him back to the series in 1954. His return was welcomed enthusiastically by audiences, and he continued playing the character until 1957. These later seasons reinforced the show's legendary status and strengthened Moore's bond with the character. By the time the series concluded, Moore had firmly established himself as the definitive Lone Ranger in television history. Guest appearances in other westerns. Although the Lone Ranger dominated his career, Moore occasionally appeared in other television productions. In 1952, he guest starred in The Adventures of Kit Carson, a Western drama starring Bill Williams. The show depicted frontier adventures inspired by the legendary scout Kit Carson. Moore also appeared in 2 episodes of The Range Rider alongside actor Jock Mahoney. These roles allowed audiences to see Moore in different storylines, though his heroic persona often reminded viewers of his iconic masked character. Lone Ranger films. Moore and Jay Silverheels later brought their famous characters to the big screen. They starred together in the film The Lone Ranger and its sequel, The Lone Ranger and the Lost City of Gold. These films expanded the Lone Ranger mythology beyond television. In particular, Lost City of Gold explored themes of justice, prejudice, and cultural respect. Moore maintained the noble qualities that audiences loved, while Silverheels continued to portray Tonto with quiet dignity. The films helped extend the character's popularity and allowed fans to enjoy their adventures in a larger cinematic format. Life after the series. After the final Lone Ranger film in 1958, Moore entered a new stage of life devoted almost entirely to representing the character publicly. For more than 4 decades, he traveled across the United States making appearances at parades, rodeos, charity events, schools, and children's hospitals. Rather than distancing himself from his famous role, Moore fully embraced it. He frequently wore the iconic mask and Western costume during public appearances, believing the character represented values worth promoting. To him, the Lone Ranger was not just a role he had played, it was a personal mission to inspire honesty, courage, and responsibility. Friendship and public reunions. Moore maintained a respectful friendship with Jay Silverheels long after their television series ended. During the early 1960s, the two actors occasionally reunited at fan conventions and special public events. These appearances delighted longtime viewers who had grown up watching their adventures. Moore often spoke warmly about Silverheels, praising his talent and professionalism. Their partnership had become one of television's most beloved duos. Seeing them together again reminded fans of the show's golden era and highlighted the genuine camaraderie between the actors who had brought those legendary characters to life. Final years in passing, Clayton Moore spent his later years in peaceful semi-retirement in the hills west of Los Angeles. Even in old age, he remained deeply connected to the fans who had supported him for decades. Sadly, on December 28, 1999, Moore passed away after suffering a heart attack. His death marked the end of a remarkable chapter in television history. For generations who grew up watching him ride across the screen on his horse Silver, Moore represented courage and righteousness. His passing was mourned by countless admirers who remembered him not only as an actor, but as a true symbol of heroism. Legacy and resting place. Following his death, Clayton Moore was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, a cemetery known for being the resting place of many legendary figures from Hollywood's golden age. His grave has since become a quiet place of tribute for devoted fans. Visitors often leave flowers and small tokens, including miniature versions of the famous Lone Ranger mask. These gestures reflect the lasting admiration people feel for Moore and the heroic character he portrayed with such dedication. Outro. A hero who never removed the mask, Clayton Moore's life story is inseparable from the legend of the Lone Ranger. While many actors move on from their most famous roles, Moore embraced his character as a lifelong identity. Through public appearances, charity work, and personal interactions with fans, he ensured that the values of justice, honesty, and courage remained alive. Decades after the television series ended, people still remember the masked rider who fought for what was right. Moore's commitment to his character turned him into more than an actor. He became a real-life symbol of the ideals his heroic figure represented.